Whoa, whoa, what the? That's some nice buildup. Wow. Oh my god. Some nice buildup. If you're watching this pre-recorded, it's probably not as cool, but okay, here we go. Welcome to my show. Welcome to my show. It's been a while. It's been a while. So, I guess everybody's real question is, what going on with Bitcoin Cash, right? Like, seriously, what the absolute? You know, like, that's all I gotta say about this. This is just some bull, you know? So, welcome. We're gonna catch up on the last year of Bitcoin Cash. You know, we could back it up, you know, like to the Genesis block in 2009, but that seems a little too early. I think that it has definitely been a while. And yes, so Bitcoin Cash obviously started in 2009. It was got its new name and a new client, I guess, in 2017. And here we are today in 2020, August, what is it, August 11th today? Yeah, it's August 11th today. So, well, yes, random person in Telegram chat, I can explain the problems in Bitcoin Cash. Let me just throw you a link, guy. I'll just throw you a link. Okay, there we go. So there's a great timeline started. My Mr. Zwaints. Let me switch you over here, and I do have these links open. So we're basically gonna go through it on a timeline. I mean, I guess I could give you like a forewarning, like, oh, I'm biased against ABC and I support Bitcoin Cash Node, and I do support Bitcoin Cash Node, and I guess you'll find out why today. So let's do this. Let's do this. And so the very first thing is actually a positive thing and not involve fighting. Is about coin joins and cash fusion. So Bitcoin Magazine wrote an article about cash fusion, which is in my humble opinion, cash fusion is really awesome. You know, so the show is made for kids. So fund the IFP and get it over with. You don't fund something. The miners do it. You can't just. We'll get into it. Okay, so the first thing that was started was called. Wait, was this the first thing? No, that wasn't the first thing. The first thing in January 22nd of this year, Jihang Zuhar, probably butchered that, introduced the infrastructure funding plan for Bitcoin Cash. And so if you see the IFP around, this is what it's referring to. The IFP. The IFP is a plan for essentially miners to donate part of their block reward to a foundation, a developer team. That specific detail has been changed a lot of times. But yeah, that's the basic premise for it. And so it originally started with a 12.5% of the coin base of every block reward would go to a foundation. And this was originally started as a Hong Kong corporation, which is very vague, very, very vague. And there's been multiple versions of this again. And so it was only supposed to last 6 months, and it would have started in May 15th of this year and gone until November 15th as essentially a trial period. And so this is obviously super controversial. In my humble opinion, well, Bitcoin is a system of incentives, right? Who has the incentives to keep the network going? Who has the incentives to be honest? You're an honest miner because you follow the consensus rules that the other miners follow, and they will build upon your block. And the block that you mine, those coins will be worth something because the rest of the miners think that it's a good block. So incentives, right? And so I mean, again, my personal opinion is going to spill all over this, and I just can't help it because I feel very strongly about this. But this changes the incentives of Bitcoin. And so when you have a system built on incentives, changing the incentives is pretty controversial. And so anyways, back to it. So then data link. So it's been hypothesized. It's pretty sure that ABC worked with Jihang to come up with this original proposal because this article was basically came up. And he goes through his reasons why he thinks it's good. It's a sound game theory because the incentives are aligned. And so people call it a tax all the time. And the people, because it's like a tax, you know, you spend $1 at a grocery store and there's 5.5% tax that goes to government, so your total ends up being $1.05. And so people say it's not a tax because where's the gun? You can just leave Bitcoin Cash at any time. So I don't want to get into semantics, but if I call it a tax, sorry, it's just what people call it. So sorry about that. And to beware the money you take. So who controls the funds? And he kind of proposes here that the key needs to be in the hands of people who have proven they have been working in the best interest of Bitcoin Cash, even during the rough times. And he says Jonathan Fuchball, Manjurian, and himself. And John was apparently also one of the ones that come up with the IFP. He is now against the IFP completely. And so he basically wanted to be a 2 or 3. And 2 of them were ABC members. So Bitcoin ABC is the lead implementation of Bitcoin Cash. They started Bitcoin Cash, and well, let's just say a lot of people don't get along with Amaury when it comes to a developer perspective, and there's many stories about this. And long story short, people don't think Amaury is the best leader for Bitcoin Cash anymore. And so probably the other biggest person in Bitcoin.com, and Bitcoin.com is one of the largest companies in Bitcoin Cash, and everybody knows Bitcoin.com, right? I mean, it's Bitcoin.com. So, especially funded by miners, not really Bitcoiners. You know, they're going to ask for the IFP. Well, the miners are asking for the IFP. They did, one of them at least, but I don't know how many other ones did. So, so this is still in the works, and they kind of supported it in the beginning. They said it's not a tax, which is fine, again, semantics. And it was temporary and reversible. So like if it don't work, we can't do it. And they said it could be good because, you know, you could professionalize it. Okay. And so because, you know, you get more money. This goes back to the labor theory of value, right? If you throw money at a problem, it's not automatically going to be solved because you threw money at it. But that's professionalizing it, I suppose. A word about the Hong Kong Corporation. Various proposals are on the table. This Hong Kong thing was scrapped, and thinking long term. So there we go. And it's about making Bitcoin Cash cheap, fast, cheap, and reliable for the world. Fast, cheap, and reliable. It's Bitcoin Cash. And so this obviously started the shit show in Bitcoin Cash. Well, kind of brought up the shit show, I guess. It's kind of always been brewing in the background. And then Bitcoin.com kind of went back a little bit. They said we need more agreement because it was so controversial. And then they said we should lay out basically what you need the money for. Okay. And they said any funding proposal must be temporary and reversible. Again, there it is. So they kind of rolled back a little bit. And there's a lot more shit on this list. There's like one thing a day. So I'm not going through all of them, but we're going through probably the biggest ones. And so this was IFP version 2. And so in his original one, he said this thing called no debate. Let's see, where is it? Which a lot of people kind of took to heart, but it's kind of just like a, wait, what? I think I missed one. I think I missed version 2, but we're on to version 3 now. And so he changes it to the donation mechanism, and that the miners will directly send part of their Coinbase to projects they want to donate. So the Hong Kong Corporation is out of this. And then he says, I still recommend setting up a various foundation and use the ETH Foundation as an example. And the foundation will run for a pilot period, and there's no donation option. And so how do you vote for it, right? So as a result, I will allocate my new personal hash to a new mining pool. And so how do they vote for it, right? And so it was a BIP9 signaling. Is this the one signaling? Is this a signaling one? We had to see if he makes comments on the scaling pan and show. Anyways, so yes. Okay. So yeah, he said miners should vote on it. So then Bitcoin ABC comes out and says we should vote on this via miner signaling. And so signal in your block if you want to support the IFP. And one block out of, I think it was 1,000 block voting period, one block voted for it, and it was by accident. So no miner signaled for this. I don't think miner signaling itself is very indicative of anything because 97% of miners signaled for big blocks back in the day and nothing happened. So perhaps this wasn't a good idea to begin with, but again, nobody really voted for it. And so yes, and so We haven't even got the difficulty adjustment algorithm. So this is just in there because this was kind of going by a timeline. And so if you're in Bitcoin Cash, probably know that, and you use Bitcoin Cash especially sending to exchanges per se, confirmation times may be fast, they may be slow, like really fast or really slow. And that's because of the difficulty adjustment algorithm, and it needs to be changed. Everybody agrees it needs to be changed. And so two men here, it's a 48-minute long video. I watched the majority of it. He basically came up with a proposal, and obviously there's more to the video. It's written down, and this is how we fix it. So February 27th, we'll come back around to that one, back around on this one. And so this is the same day that Bitcoin ABC said they were going to start voting on the IFP. Flipstarter was started a Flipstarter, and this is, of course, if you don't know, it's Kickstarter, but with Bitcoin Cash. And when you pledge your money, it doesn't actually leave your wallet until the entire project is funded. And so this has funded a lot of projects so far. And right now, I think their total is up to about $750,000 they've raised. And a lot of these were Bitcoin nodes. And so BCHD was fully funded, Bitcoin Cash node, and these all were about $100,000 to $200,000. Bitcoin Cash node, Bitcoin Unlimited, Bitcoin Verde, and Flowy. I don't think Bitcoin Unlimited ran one actually, but they all fulfilled their goals and did great. And yes, Mark DeMezel donated a lot of money to this, but it did work, and people got a lot of money for this to prove that maybe you can get money for development not through the Coinbase. A novel concept, I know. So I think this is skipping ahead a little bit. This is indeed skipping ahead a little bit. Where it happened here? Is it skipping ahead a little bit? Bitcoin Cash node was announced somewhere in here. I think I skipped over this one. Let's find it real quick. Yeah, that obviously came before Flipstarter. Okay. BCHN. Where did that one go? Bitcoin Cash node. Announcing the new node. So this is actually 5 days after him. This is 5 days after the Flipstarter was announced. And so it was a fork of Bitcoin ABC, just like Bitcoin ABC was a fork of Bitcoin Core. And it's just alternative leadership on Bitcoin Cash node. And so Free Trader, who was the one that helped start Bitcoin Cash, he is, I suppose he's the lead dev of this, and other contributors of Andre Suseni, Collin, Duggar, Emergent Reasons, Fernando Pilu, I don't know how to say that, Nunth, Free Trader formerly, Emergent username, JT, Silverblood, Josh Green, Mark Lendeberg, Tom Zander. So yeah, it's basically the number two, I guess you would call it the number two node in Bitcoin Cash, and I don't think Bitcoin ABC likes him very much. We can say that. For sure. Good luck with the forkage. Yeah, bro. Aren't you here for the fork? I'm just here. I just wanted a spoon, but I ended up forking. What's going on? What the heck is going on around here? And so this is a Bitcoin Cash node lead maintainer report. I'm not sure exactly why I pulled this up. I think it was for it was for the automatic replay protection was taken out. And so at the time, I still don't understand why it was taken out specifically. But I think I know now because a fork's gonna happen. So anyways, 2 weeks ago, the Grasberg DAA came out, proposal from Omri. And this was Tuman's proposal, but changed. And as far as I understand it, it's more complex. And there's this thing called, the most controversial point was this drift correction. So it's historical drift correction, which basically means that not even the drift that happened as Bitcoin Cash and their crazy oscillations with their difficulty, it also includes the drift from BTC, because actually how the difficulty works, blocks come like probably about 9 minutes and 55, I'm not sure the exact number, but it's a little bit less than 10 minutes of what it should be. And so there's been all this time that built up, and blocks were too fast. And so this drift correction makes the future blocks slower to catch up for this drift correction. So I have a feeling that they're not going to fork. Hey, pay the 8, Collin. Pay the 8%. Thanks for the bucks. Hello. The Chinese refer to J Tuming with the G at the end. His name Tumim. I always forget there's an M at the end. I always forget the M. And so, yeah. So this was the most controversial point in this drift. And so a lot of people said, like, why are we doing this? Like, why are we changing the drift? Nobody asked to change his drift, and there's no discussion about it. And then Amrain here says there was no other proposal reached ABC at the time of writing, which I guess, I mean, if you want to get like super technical, Tumim never like specifically submitted it to Bitcoin ABC, but there were very concrete proposals already around. It just wasn't like, hey, ABC, here's a proposal, right? And so this Grasberg one came up, and about the drift correction. So this was kind of a breaking point right here. So let's look at this, shall we? So we're going to.
Fuck off. That's like, because if we are not willing to do that, we're gonna get the exact same result.
I mean, as long as we're being you know, responsible about that, right? Because I think, and all I'm really saying is, I think if we take the success parameters that is being written by Carol and then make an announcement to the community and say, if you don't agree with this, you need to speak up about it now, and you need to have solutions for how to do that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not just, oh, I don't like that, too bad.
Yep. Yeah. No.
You know
when I
mean?
say we need to be able to tell people to fuck off, I'm not talking about like doing so for bad reasons. You need to have a reason, obviously, but you need to be willing to do that. And because like, if there is like one party, because what's going to happen, listen, the whole history of BCH is that
to the specific wrong
very few parties have been willing to do that. And as a result,
skip it a little bit.
And what are its objective and what are also not in the scope, right? And if you come there and you say, well, you need to change everything because blah, they're going to tell you, here is what we're doing, here is what we're not doing, end of discussion. And everybody is going to stick to that.
Hang on a sec. I think Josh needs to respond to that.
Yeah, I think all I'm trying to really suggest is, in order for me to, because like I am not going to contribute to what the DAA algorithm is. I am personally like not really the best person to be doing that. And also I wouldn't even have the time to, even if I did. But what my decision process would be when this becomes controversial, because it probably will, it is going to be if there's a party like ABC that says this is our success criteria, we've made every effort to say this is the conversation that's happening and this is the direction that we want to do, and you guys have been very responsible going forward. And like, even if you don't agree with people, like someone can come in and say, I don't agree with the success criteria. I want to have, you know, like half-second blocks because whatever. Like if the, you know, like as long as you're giving them the opportunity to say that, and then like moving forward, I think that's fine. But I think, you know, from my standpoint as a minority node implementation, like there's if it's
and the earlier. Like, you know, when things are moving into a direction, the earlier you act and the more impact the nudge have. And so you can have a very light nudge, you know, early.
This is the wrong one, isn't it?
But at some point, the light nudge.
I messed it up. Okay, sorry. Let me go back. I messed it up. Rewind. Wrong meeting. Yeah, throw some dodge in there. Matthew, you got the wrong meeting in there. I went to the wrong one. Okay. Anyways, what happened was, I'll just recap it for you. So what happened is that there's a work group on Telegram. It's called the DAA work group, where people try and figure out what the best DAA changes. And after Grasberg came out, people were like, this drift correction came out of nowhere, right? This drift correction came out of nowhere. Nobody talked about this before. Where is this drift correction, right? Like, so... like nobody talked about this, and Omri says, well, we did. And I think Carol brought it up a couple times. The chat logs are out there somewhere. I don't have them handy, but the chat logs are out there. I saw somebody post on Reddit at some point. But it was like a very brief discussion, and it was just dismissed as like, why would we do this? And so there wasn't really like a full discussion, and it made it into essentially what they said was ABC. And so Bitcoin. They said Bitcoin ABC is moving forward with the Grasberg DAA in the same announcement, and so this is a big controversy for a long time. And so what happened was this consortium of people and businesses said that we're going to do Tumim's algorithm instead of the Grasberg because it came out of nowhere and this has been tested already and it doesn't need additional testing. And so like basically everybody, not everybody, all the different node implementations had people in them that were going to go with this other one, right? So ABC was the only one that was going to go with their own DAA, and all the other node implementations are like, nah. And so you can go through this. There's a lot of people in here, a lot of names you probably recognize, people you probably don't recognize that are just random people on the internet. And so it's a long list. It's a long list. And guess what? They're all hash signed, so you know they're legit. And so what happened after that was that ABC came out and said, "Okay, we're gonna do Tumim's algorithm, but we're gonna put the IFP back in and do 8%." And so it was just like really weird bait and switch because none of the miners signaled for the IFP, and then suddenly it comes back again. But Grasberg was taken out because nobody liked Grasberg. And so it's like, all right, you don't want Grasberg? You take the IFP then. And I guess I don't know how else to explain it from there. Are you the one that's pro ABC? No, there's people around, but given a lot of their antics, I don't see how you can support them for like not always like dictating what's going on. And so what's happening is that we'll get into the fork scenarios here. I do have a nice graphic setup, so stick around for the graphics. And so this is from Bitcoin Cash miners. I don't think they've actually they haven't signaled, and they say they have a BCH majority, which is it can be like 1% of the SHA-256 hash power. So take that as you will. But it's a lot of people that signed for it, and so they said we're not going to do the IFP, and so we're going to vote against it and essentially run BCHN. And so that's where we're at. We have Bitcoin ABC versus everybody else at this point. So and so there are futures right now. It's very low volume, so take this as a grain of salt. But they have the Bitcoin Cash ABC version at $31. Again, low volume, but if you can make a lot of money if you think ABC is going to be worth more than $31. And so let's look at before we go into that, Bitcoin.com also came in saying they're going to mine on the longest chain is what they said, with the non-IFP. Got that right. They don't support the IFP, but if it goes through, they will still go on the on the longest chain. And so let's see what the hell's going on because the pictures are better. So let's look at this, shall we? So on the top here, we have, anyone know how that coin looks? I just showed you. Okay, so BCHN has vowed to follow the longest chain, no matter with the IFP or without the IFP. Okay, and so there is a chance that there's only one chain after November, but there's only one chain if that's the ABC chain. If Bitcoin Cash node gets the majority of the hash rate, there will be two chains and ABC will be the minority. All right. That's the words of it. So let's show it. And so this is what would happen if the BCHN majority, there's more blocks, so it's be the longest chain. And so we're gonna play around with this a little bit. And so let me take this off for now and turn, let's see, it goes like that. Okay. And then we're going to turn these orange boys off. Okay. So what happens if ABC runs a block first? Well, that's the new longest chain, right? And so what would happen is, let me use this other one. I'll give me one with the stick the other way. Fuck. So what happened is, turn around, bit. So if ABC is now the longest chain, if somebody's mining BCHN, they will mine on this ABC chain, okay? But ABC is not going to accept any blocks that does not have the IFP in it. So what will ABC do? Well, they're just gonna say fuck you and ignore your block. Hey, where'd it go? And just mine on top of it, or not on top of it. Literally just ignore it, like not on top. They will just continue to mine on top of the previous one. They're gonna ignore every BCHN block, okay? And so, hey, that's not very nice. Why would you do that? And so this is the longest chain again, right? And so Bitcoin Cash node would try to mine on top of this one again. Okay. And ABC, well, what would they do? They would ignore it again. And so this is if ABC has majority hash. Okay. And so, well, what if Bitcoin, this is a lot of oranges down here. Let's see. So, that's kind of it. Those are the two scenarios. And there's a third one where it's like 50-50 hash rate, but it's a little bit over my head. I don't really understand. Basically, the BCHN would be trying to build on both chains at the same time. So I guess I could just write it out. So if BCHN gets majority hash rate, there will be two chains, BCHN and BCH ABC. Wow, who did this? Who did this leading? Okay. But if ABC gets majority hash rate, there will be one chain, BCH ABC. I mean, if there's only one chain, it's going to be called BCH, right? And so that's it. That's those are the two scenarios. So ABC will survive no matter what, even if it has a little bit of hash rate. Bitcoin Cash node will only survive if it has more than 50% of the hash rate. So BCHN has lower miner adoption. That's, you actually don't know who is mining with BCHN at this very moment. You have no idea. I don't know who is mining with ABC. Signaling, you could be signaling that you're running BCHN and be running ABC. And so a lot of miners have come out and supported BCHN, but they're not signaling in their Coinbases. So nobody truly knows the hash rate at this point in time. And so, yeah. So that's that. Those are the scenarios. So basically, if ABC has a majority hash rate, they're going to orphan, they're going to get rid of all the BCHN blocks that they find. They're going to just ignore them. And all the BCHN nodes, miners, will not get any money from their blocks because there's no valid blockchain. So that's from a miner perspective. From an exchange perspective, or from a node perspective that you aren't mining, you should probably run the Bitcoin Cash node, because no matter what, you're going to be on the longest chain, right? Because if BCHN gets a majority hash rate, well, you're already running BCHN. If ABC gets the majority hash rate, you're going to follow that chain because it's the longest chain. So if you're a miner, it's you're kind of iffy, right? You have to choose. But if you're an exchange or a watching node, your best bet is to use the BCHN node, because they will follow the longest chain. So, fun fact: user will not be affected unless there's a fork. With all apps, wallets, SLP get messy. It's not going to be a clean thing. If the hash rates are close, it will be messy. Yes. It will get messy if hash rates are close. If hash rates are overwhelming in one direction, it will not be messy. And that's kind of how it goes. And since I don't think there's replay protection on BCHN because they took that out, yeah, it can get real messy. So there's going to be an actual hash war this time? Yeah. This is the real hash war. This is hash war part 2, the Boogaloo. Hash war part 2, the Boogaloo. So that's it, boys. So we have a real hash war. We have real hashes on the line. We have people posing up on both sides of this. So that's it. Do we have any questions? Any questions, class? Any questions, class? So my comment on this is here. Let me write. I'm gonna write it down because it's important. And these should actually be switched because this is the other way. Here, let me switch this quick. Any questions, class? You're witnessing real hash war, not like a dick measuring contest not like a measuring contest like in BSV and BCH. Okay, so my question to everybody now is, who has the strongest commitment? Huh? Should I sell half my BCH for safety? Maybe the 2 coins will be worth more separate. Doesn't that happen with BSV? Like what, 5? It like pumped to 600-700 before, and then it split, and it was really shitty, and now it's about pre-fork again. How come price stays stable throughout the debate? Markets are kind of stupid. I don't know. Markets. So it did pump a little bit when Omri announced that they were going to do the IFP again. And you could either interpret that a couple ways, depending on which side of the fence you fall on. People are like, oh, Omri is going to fund the developers, so therefore the price pumped. Or you could be like, oh, there's going to be 2 coins, so the price pumped. Right? You don't know. Miners can also mine ABC compatible blocks with BCHN, which gives them the lowest chance of orphaning. Also mine ABC compatible blocks. Stay on the longest chain, but don't risk losing your block to ABC miners. This is true. That'd be kind of silly, though, if you're doing the IFP on BCHN. But you could, of course, yeah. So what's stopping ABC or Roger slipping a last-minute checkpoint or whatever you permafork? You done it before. That was ABC that did the checkpoints. So, again, ABC's already forking no matter what. So it's BCHN that's either going to fork with majority or do IFP if they don't have majority. So who has the strongest commitment? Here, let me put another orange up here so you can kind of get what's going on. I need to put an orphan in. I need to put save the orphans, everybody. Save the orphans. So we put that guy in, and then we'll put this guy in. So there, that's what an orphan looks like. Except the green should be on top. He's orphaned. He should be behind. He's orphaned. He's an orphan. He shouldn't be in front of anybody. It doesn't matter. So yeah, there's a where's the line though? Snakes. It would be the smartest strategy, not silly. Miners else mine ABC compatible blocks. Yeah, let me read this again. I understand you. I just want to fully understand you. Miners could understand you, but miners could also mine ABC compatible blocks at BCHN, which gives them the lowest chance of orphaning. Stay on the longest chain, but don't risk losing your block to ABC miners. Yes, this is true. This is true. So I guess you could call the yellow ones IFP blocks and not specifically BCHN blocks. What happened to CoinSpice? Just ran out of money. I don't think there was a real profit model. So, anyways, I'm going to end this episode here, but I'm going to hop over to Twitch and stay on for a little bit. So feel free to come over on Twitch. I like to keep it a little short and sweet on this YouTube channel for people to rewatch and not be, not be intimidated by a giant time. And the biggest winner of Bitcoin Hash Wars is Ethereum. Is DeFi. DeFi wins. DeFi wins the Bitcoin Cash Hash Wars. Oh, man, there's been so much. We'll talk about DeFi on Twitch. Jesus Christ. Anyways, hope you learned something today about some history. I don't think I messed it up at all, so that's good. So, anyways, hop on over to Twitch. Stay frosty.